Good day, everyone. This is Shantae. I'm here with my analysis today on Thursday, July 2020. I'm sorry that I'm late. I didn't put out a flyer, so I'm here with my stuff. But you guys know I'm daily, Monday through Friday, from probably it was 10:30 or 10:45. It's almost like if you watch Brian Williams, what is it? The 11th hour with him. It's almost similar to that because I go through stuff at the end of the day. I try to get everything today and then give it to you. But you can always check me out on YouTube. Sometimes I'll post it on Facebook. But I'm going to try some other different platforms, like maybe do a restream. But I'm here with stuff today. So I always start off with the coronavirus. So let's just get to, because the coronavirus is very serious in our country. And we saw some record high single day cases here in the country. So let me just bring that to you. So globally, we are seeing 13,758,533 cases of COVID-19. Here in the U.S., we account for a fourth of those cases, and that's 3,570 cases and 37. So it's 3,570,037 cases of COVID-19. Our death toll is sitting at 138,291, and it's increasing even further higher. Brazil has reached a 2 million mark, so they're at 2,012,051, followed by India, which is on the million trajectory, at 968,876, followed by Russia at 751,602, so that's 751 and 612, thousand. Mexico, before Mexico, Peru is the next one behind Russia, and they at 341,586 cases. South Africa, which is like alarming, like I'm so shocked, they're at 324,221 cases, followed by Mexico. Now Mexico is at 324,041. Chile is at 323,698, and the UK is at 294,411. Now I think I have my numbers from yesterday. I don't know if I have it with me around here, but these numbers are significantly high. They're pretty much in a high tier here. So now in Latin countries, this is another number that I'm shocked at. Colombia is sitting at 165,169 cases of COVID-19. The Latin countries, man. And it's mostly, these are black and brown countries, mostly. Panama, 50,373. Dominican Republic, 48,743. Whoa. Guatemala, 32,939. Honduras, 30,036. African nations. I already talked about South Africa being one of the highest cases and the 300,000 mark. Nigeria is sitting at 34,854. Ghana sitting at 26,125. Cameroon sitting at 16,157. Kenya at 11,673. Senegal at 8,481. Gambia at 74 cases. In the West Indies, Haiti is one of the highest in the West Indies. Well, actually, it's more so Panama. But in that tier, it's sitting at 6,902. Jamaica at 763. Guyana at 315. Trinidad and Tobago at 133. Bahamas at 124. Antigua at 74. Belize at 40. St. Vincent at 35. Grenada still sitting at 23. St. Lucia still sitting at 22. Dominica still sitting at 18. And I added St. Kitts at 17 cases. Now on to the states. here, which, like I said, we account for a fourth of those cases. And here, excuse me, and here are the cases with the highest numbers. I'm sorry, I just ate spaghetti. New York is sitting at 409,476. We've seen upticks in New York, but the cases are still flat. It's not significantly high. We are opening in metrics here in New York because I'm a New Yorker. We're not opening at full capacity, only half and maybe a third and a fourth of capacity. Mostly a lot of offices refuse to mostly open with a whole bunch of people, even though they have like, say, like 1 or 2 people going to the office like once a week, but everybody's mostly, I know, that's working from home, and that includes my mother. California, though, is half of where we at, maybe like less than half. California is at 364,576. Yesterday they were at 350 something, 340 something. Today they're at 364 cases. 364,000 cases. Florida is at 315,767. Texas is at 310,154. New Jersey's at 178,475. Arizona is at 134,669. Georgia is at 120,848. Going to get to Georgia in a minute. North Carolina, 93,769. And Louisiana, 86,521. And if I misread the number of California wrong, it is 364,576. So they're like close to the trajectory where New York is. And they're half the size, bigger. They're not half the size, but New York is half of their population. Even though we have the highest cases, but we're only 19 million. California is what? 40 million people? That's a lot of people. Hey, Keith. So that's where we are. In terms of counties, the top counties. Now, this part here is back to John Hopkins. Sorry. Keep messing up the name. John Hopkins University COVID map. Sorry. LA, 143,207. Cook County and Chicago, 662, excuse me. Maricopa in Arizona, 86,483. Miami-Dade County, that's the new epicenter, 42,317. Then comes Queens, who were the highest numbers of this whole COVID. They were the epicenter of COVID-19 back in March and April. Seems like they're not anymore. They're ranked number 5 in the top cases, sitting at 65,976. So that's where we are with the COVID-19. And get into the Republican denial, as I put it. Because I'm going to do the jobs report first, but I want to get to the Republican denial and things. So, Brian Kemp. Brian Kemp is the governor of Georgia. The one that basically, I think, cheated his way to the governorship. Is overriding the authority of the Georgia mayors, the local mayors, enforcement, basically to wear their mask. I'm not shocked. He wasn't serious about the COVID thing. He was one of the last places to shut down and all of this stuff. He said about the mayors of Georgia, that includes the mayor of Atlanta, basically enforcing a mask face covering policy. They say it's the call of the local mask is unenforceable. No, it's not. It's the right thing to do. You want to wear your mask because now, as we learn about this virus time and time again, it's the droplets in the mouth. Like if we talk, you know how like a little bit of spit comes out your mouth and you don't even know, that's a droplet. So those droplets can create COVID-19. And if you are a person with an immune compromised system, or a compromised immune system, you could be subject to being on ICU or dying from complications of COVID-19, because there's pneumonia, there's the guy that died from a leg amputation, the Broadway star. There's all kinds of complications of COVID-19 that you can either be sick with a long time, or God forbid, pass away. So that's why they urge you to wear the mask, because you're actually saving lives. And of course, here in New York, even though it's not a mandated law, but there are stores in the city that requires that. And I'm pretty sure our mayor, sometimes he pissed me off, but one thing he said, you have to wear your mask. It's important that you do. And he's right about that. So that's just what's going on in Georgia. And Brian Kemp is suing the mayor of Atlanta. Just find that news out tonight. So I'm not shocked at Governor Brian Kemp, Governor Ron DeSantis, or they call him Death Santis, which that's mean. I'm going to call him Ron DeSantis by his name. The governor of Arizona, what's his name? Doug Ducey, Mike Ducey. What other stupid governor? And Governor Greg Abbott. Those are the 4 dum-dums of these red states that are leading their folks during this pandemic and leading them to death. I can't say it no other way, because if I was living in Georgia, thank God, there's a reason why I didn't live in the South, because of ignorance like that. I would be screwed. Just straight up screwed. People talk about governors in the Northeast, mostly Democratic governors, probably 1 or 2 Republican governors. But thank God for Governor Andrew Martin Cuomo's leadership. Like, his leadership is everything right now. It's everything. Because if it wasn't for him, it would have been a lot more New Yorkers would have been dead. Then if that 32,000 would have been 132,000 or 232,000. So our stay-at-home order was about 2.5, 3 months. Couldn't have been better. Reopening in less than 50% capacity. Great. Because the 4 dumb governors, Kemp, DeSantis, Abbott, and Ducey, is leading you to destruction. And of course, I can't forget the governor of Oklahoma. I don't know his name, but he has COVID-19. So the Republican denial saying wearing a mask is a restriction of your liberty is stupid. It's the most dumbest thing I think I ever heard. You're risking the lives of your constituents. You're putting them at harm's risk. And for these constituents, these Trump supporters that's listening to them, and not just only these Trump supporters, some of us young black folks and Hispanic folks that's just walking outside without your mask on, you're affecting your family. There's about 15% of people that can be asymptomatic. That's in thousands. And you don't even know if you're asymptomatic. That's why people say, wear your mask. And when these Republicans keep denying you to wear your mask, they're leading you to death and destruction. So I'm urging people, whoever's watching this video, or who's going to watch it on my timeline, or who's going to watch it on my YouTube, wear your mask. You will save lives and slow the spread. Period. Now on to these numbers for these this job report. Well, I don't have too many numbers. I just have some stuff in terms of the jobs. So according to a CNBC article, the folks that's getting that extra $600 from unemployment might end next Saturday, or next Friday, or next Sunday, in terms of whoever's getting it, and that includes me. due to the COVID-19. And so when I hear this stuff, and 33 million Americans, according to the CNBC article, that are still receiving these unemployments, you're putting the lives of 333 million Americans that got to sacrifice themselves, that got to feed their families off this. I'm lucky I live by myself, so this is a different story, even though I'm nervous as hell. But you have people that have children that they got to take care on their benefits. That extra $600 came in handy for some folks, for their rent and for their bills to cover certain expenses, right? That's what we're talking about. There's people that got to pay their mortgage, their rent. Some people are behind their rent and mortgage because of they're trying to make ends meet of paying their bills and taking care of their family, and not just their child. There's most of people that are living in multi-generational households. They got their grandmother living with them, they got their kids living with them, and sometimes their kids living with them. So like it's a lot. And this Republican Senate, not the House of Representatives, which is Democratic, but mostly these Republican senators, including the majority leader, the Grim Reaper, Mitch McConnell, seems to not give a damn. They trying to work on a relief bill that's going to take 3 weeks, but nobody got 3 weeks. And that's another thing, Jamila. Like, no one, I know people that did not get their unemployment or got their $1,200 check. I was looking to get my $1,200 check because I get my stuff electronically. So I want Trump to try the bullshit with people that get their stuff electronically, including me. Because I don't get my stuff by mail. I get my stuff electronically in my account. And I get it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I feel bad for people that didn't get their unemployment, that was qualified and never got it, who has to stand on food bank lines. And it does need to be extended because there's people that's facing evictions. People are getting evicted in Texas. In Texas, there's a judge in Harris County. You can read a Washington Post if you got the Apple news app on your phone. You can read it for free instead of paying for the subscription. There are people that's getting evicted. There's people that did not get the unemployment. There's people that got to stand on food bank lines to make ends meet for to get food for their families. And even in the South, there is a food insecurity problem, especially in Houston, cities in Houston and the city of Miami-Dade County. Miami. So when Trump's saying like everything is fine, like not talking about coronavirus, you're talking about other things such as tackling the crime that's going on in the cities, that could be dealt with by mayors and other local officials. Right now, we got a COVID problem, and it's spreading like wildfire, especially in the Sun Belt states, in the South and out west. There's states like California and Oregon had to scale back on their reopening. I believe Utah was one of them too because of the COVID outbreak. People were opening in full capacity because they was worrying about, local county officials, local mayors and local whatever, and worrying about their constituents calling to reopen and want to go back to work. But there's people that's getting affected by COVID, not wearing their mask and refusing to wear their mask. And some of them, like I said, are Trump supporters, and you got a portion that's just ignorant and stupid. So when we talk about COVID-19 having an economic implication, this is it. If you can't deal with the public health problem, you cannot deal with the economic issue. It's just that simple. But hopefully we see something next week. It might be a fight on the Senate floor between Democrats, mostly Democrats like Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, possibly Bernie Sanders, Mazie Hirono, Brian Schwartz, a couple, and Tammy Duckworth. It's going to be a plethora of Democrats, basically, Senate Democrats. Gillibrand, our senator. Of course, Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer always give it to Mitch McConnell right out the gate. That's the Brooklyn in him. So, like, I mean, there you have it. But I am going to move right along to, I was going to talk about Chuck Woolery. I think he was a game show host back in the 80s. He's another in the Republican denounce. So, and his son got COVID-19. So I'm not going to give him my energy. But I'm going to move on to this White House, what's it face? This White House disastrous press briefing, which she basically talked about this nonsense of Donald Trump rolling back regulations. She didn't specify the regulations during the Obama and Biden administration. I don't know what she's talking about because it made no sense. But a reporter did ask her about Trump let states defend for themselves, because a Republican governor from Maryland, his name is Larry Hogan, wrote an op-ed today saying how Trump left governors of states to fend for themselves, which is true, because that includes our governor, Andrew Cuomo. If you're a New Yorker, Andrew Cuomo was left to fend for himself. He kept calling the White House crazy every day, asking for ventilators, PPE, and even our money. And he didn't get the money. So you know, if you saw that press conference, you already know how pissed he was. But so her response, McEnany, who was the press secretary, said, yeah, it's really striking to hear about these comments, which you could compare them to the previous statements saying how it's revisionist history. I didn't hear Larry Hogan praising Donald Trump. If anything, I heard about him going overseas to pay for test kits to bring back to his state, because his wife is, I think, is Asian, and so she had that connection. So he flew there and flew back and came with those test kits for his people in Maryland. So what Kelly McEnany was talking about, and then she was also questioned about the campaigns, basically about Joe Biden polling above Donald Trump, even though you shouldn't be living by the polls, because I don't believe in the polls. I believe in turnout. And so she said that will be in question for this campaign when it comes to the campaign polling. But we believe that Donald Trump has great approval and in this country, and his historic response to COVID speaks for itself, and deliver ventilators, testing, and leading the world on testing. We rank number 25, 26. We rank in the 20s of testing. So what the hell is Kayleigh McEnany talking about? These are all lies. And then she goes on and says something to another reporter of why Trump did not address the COVID issue during his range of public events. She said he's routinely focused on coronavirus. He's hard at work, and the task force is hard at work. So why the task force is not having daily briefings every day like some of these governors? Andrew Cuomo had more briefings than the coronavirus task force. I'm just saying. And she was also asked why this is not a priority to Trump. And she said the president, I don't call him the president, but these are her words, is focusing a lot on coronavirus. And he held a conference today about MSN13, and she goes about crime in the Democratic-led cities, like all of this deflection and just distraction and spinning like she normally does and have been doing for a very long time. If she was a commentator on CNN, and she used to spin in circles, Spinnerella, that's what I call her. Another reporter asked her about the task force, and she said the task force is briefed every day, and Donald Trump is briefed every day. And then she asked about why testing isn't quicker, and she said we give the state supplies. It depends on, how they use them. But the question that stuck out to me was about the school. And there was asked, what does Trump say to parents out here saying, what should I do with my kids when it comes to school? And she said he wants the schools to be open. And she said the science should not stand in the way of this. So let me deconstruct this debacle of a press conference. I'm not a parent. I used to work with kids. I used to run a program, and I was an executive assistant as well. From learning about how parents, routinely get their kids together, and friends that I know that are parents, or friends that I have that are parents, would probably curse out Kayleigh McEnany for the debacle and dubious comment that she's saying, along with this administration politicizing of reopening schools. It is the most dangerous thing that they can possibly do. They're putting out false narratives saying that kids are not susceptible, to this virus. And they are. And New York State, there were 3 children under the age of 18 that died from complications of COVID symptoms. The Wasaki virus, which is an extension of the coronavirus, in young people. Across this nation, there are young adults my age and younger are sick or either dying from complications of COVID-19. Kids are the most biggest super germ spreaders when it comes to germs and colds and strep throats and whatnot. So what the is Kayleigh talking about? I'm trying to refrain from cursing, but she makes you want to say the F word, the S word, all kinds of words and derogatory words towards her because she's acting like a Karen. If I was a parent, I would not send my child to school. It will be remote learning all day, every day, and we will take our walks outside. Will she play with other kids? I don't think so. Not until it's the vaccine. He or she. And I know there's parents that's going to watch on my timeline, that's going to watch on YouTube, and is probably going to agree with me for this single woman that don't have no kids but has some goddamn common sense. This administration is a dangerous administration. That's why I always say elections have consequences. So much consequences. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But I am going to steer another direction because I don't want to hear from this goddamn administration. But I do want to talk about, and I didn't get the chance to write down my stuff. Kamala Harris have dropped another series of bills that will help people. It's more so a grant for people who have I forgot the name of the bill, but it's a COVID-19 related relief bill that will assist people that are facing evictions and that are either facing evictions or homeless in terms of homelessness. You can look it up on the internet. It's a bill that she had put out. Her Senate staff is working very hard to put out this bill because it's extremely important. A lot of people, like I said, in Texas, there's people that's facing evictions, and this bill that she has will tackle that. But I suggest that you read it because it's very insightful. I like the bill. I like what it has in it, and it will help folks that are behind their rent or facing evictions for that, because and also bars landlords to evict people. And this bill goes up until March 2021. No, July. I believe July 2021. So you can read it for yourself. In terms of the Veep stakes, because Joe Biden is the presumptive nominee. DNC, the convention, they have to nominate him at the convention. We don't know when the convention is. I think the convention's in August, which I'm shocked because the Democratic convention will be first before the Republican convention, but who knows? So there's a debate about the vice president thing. It's never been like this before, ever in my lifetime. But now it is because Joe Biden elected. He will be the eldest man elected to the White House at 77 years old. Because he'll be 78 days later from the election. But in terms of that, I saw The View. For those who don't watch The View, you could watch the clip online on YouTube. I love Whoopi and I respect Whoopi Goldberg, but representation and policy matters. It includes qualifications. And everybody who knows me that my choice is Kamala Harris. And for these particular reasons, I have, because she's composed, measured, she's dropping bills like crazy. And she really speaks to people who are disenfranchised. People may, disagree with me because of the criminal justice record, but the stuff that Tulsi Gabbard raised at the debate was actually false. You can read the articles in the Mercury and the Sacramento Bee to prove, because they called out Tulsi Gabbard's lies on Kamala Harris' record as the Attorney General of California. Excuse me. So Whoopi says something about having an Asian woman by Donald Trump's side, but then Tammy Duckworth don't even have a diverse Senate staff. I mean, she will be good as a Secretary of Defense, and I didn't want to put her in that bar, but that's what it is. But Tiffany Cross basically told her we need representation, and it's true, we do. But I am going to do a separate video on the Veep stakes, but this is all I have for tonight. I don't want to spend too much time because I know everybody got something to do. But I'll be back tomorrow. I'll deliver lengthy, worthy stuff for tomorrow. As of Saturday and Sunday, I try to take the time off, but on Saturdays and Sundays, I will give updates on the coronavirus because that's something that's affecting us every day. So you could look out for videos on coronavirus. But until then, you guys have a good night and thank you. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Have a nice night.